So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to ask all our Forest Hill graduates, and today we are also very grateful to have two friends join us who didn't graduate from Forest Hill, but they are attending college programs right now. So we wanted to have some representatives from who are attending college and also university. So we have asked Marty and Victoria also to join us, and Tio also goes to college right now, who was a Forest Hill graduate. So those Forest Hill students here, we are going to have people here on the panel to answer both college and university questions. But before we go to question and answer, I would like you to get to know who we are on the screen a little bit better. So when I call on each of you, I would like you to introduce yourself, like your name, what school are you attending right now, what program you are in, and what year you're in. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to do alphabetically first name. So let's start with Cassie.
Hi, I'm Cassie. I go to Western University, and I'm in BMOS, which is the business program there, and I'm going into my second year now.
Thank you, Cassie. Danny?
Oh, sound.
Can you hear me now? Hi, I'm Daniela.
Yes.
I go to Ryerson University. I'm technically finished first year, but I'm going into first year again because I'm switching programs. So I'm only graduating in 2024. And I did child and youth care, and now I'm going into early childhood education.
Thank you. Gracie?
My name is Gracie. I go to the University of Guelph. I'm in philosophy and criminal justice and public policy, and I'm going into my second year.
Thank you. Jacob?
Hey, I'm Jacob. I'm going to my third year now, wow, at Queen's University in chemical engineering.
Thank you. Jasper?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jasper. I go to Western University, same as Cassie. I'm in the BMOS program, the Bachelor of Management and Organizational Studies program. I just graduated from it at the end of April.
Congrats. And Josh?
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm at the University of Waterloo. I'm currently doing my 2B semester in the summer because we have co-op, so it kind of shifts everything down a little bit. I'm studying mechatronics engineering, and yeah, having a great time.
Kena?
Hi guys, my name is Kana. I go to Queen's University. I study life sciences, and I'm going to my second year in September.
Thank you. Kira?
Hi, I'm Kira. I'm going into my fourth year of kinesiology at McMaster University.
Thanks, Kira. Marley?
Hi, I'm Marley. I'm in the Special Event Management program at George Brown, and I just currently finished my fourth year.
Thank you, Marley. Yeah. Mona?
Hi, I'm Mona. I am heading into my fourth year at the University of Toronto, studying at Rotman Commerce.
Thank you, Mona. Oswald?
Hey.
Hi, I'm Oswald. I'm starting my fourth year at McMaster University in the physics program.
Thank you. Patrick?
Hey everyone, my name's Patrick and I go to Ryerson University and I'm studying urban and regional planning and I'm entering my third year.
Thank you, Patrick. Sapna?
Hi, I'm Sapna and I go to U of T in the life sciences and I'm going into my second year.
Thanks, Sapna. Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah with no H. I go to OCAD University, and I'm just about to start my second year in the animation program.
Tio?
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Theodore. I went to Centennial College for Police Foundations, and I graduated. It is a 2-year program, and I have recently applied to university, so I do find myself in the position that you're right now.
Thank you.
Good.
Veronica, are you still here? Did I lose Veronica? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, I'm Veronica, and I'll be a second-year student at OCAD in September for animation.
Thank you. And last but not least, Victoria.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I go to Humber College. I just finished my first semester of fitness and health promotions, but this is technically my second year of college. I also did child and youth care last year.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question we're going to ask the panelists is basically a multiple choice question. So you can't, well, not multiple choice. I mean, you have a choice of answer 1 or 2. So the 2 questions are, how would you describe post-secondary life compared to high school life? Or you can also answer, what were you most surprised by when you first attended university or college? So either compare post-secondary and high school, or what were you surprised by when you got to post-secondary? So I'm gonna go this time alphabetical by last name. Mr. Blatt, Josh, you can go first.
So I'm going to answer what surprised me the most about entering university. So some of the worries that I had going in was just that like maybe I wasn't like the most prepared, and that like there were certain parts of like my foundations that were missing, maybe courses I should have taken that I didn't take or anything like that. And I was really pleasantly surprised to find that, or at least in my program, they pretty much, you went in and they didn't expect that you knew pretty much anything. Like even in our math courses, they like literally started with like addition and like subtraction and stuff like that. So that was like really nice to see. And it was kind of like a huge relief for me. I was also surprised just to see like what it would be like to be in like kind of like a room full of people who have like very similar interests as you. Especially in my program, like you have all of your classes with all of the same people. So I don't know, it kind of like it gives it like a really nice like family feeling to it. And yeah, I was like really pleasantly surprised to find that like there were a lot of like-minded people in the room that are really cool and that I liked spending time with.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Jacob, Mr. Calderon.
I can answer the first one about comparing it. I think the biggest one for myself is it's not the 9 to 3:30 with lunch that some people kind of have pros and cons to it, I guess. For myself, that was a big adjustment, especially when your class at 8:30, so you have to get up a little bit before, which was tough at the beginning. And yeah, for me, the classes could go from 8:30 to 6:30, so it's all about balancing kind of the academic part and the social part, especially in first year when everything's so new. Also about the food. I mean, I was used to sitting in the cafeteria and eating lunch. There are so many places, especially at Queens on the campus, where you could go have lunch. So there's that option too. I think another big thing is that in my case, the classes are a lot bigger. So for myself, that was extremely intimidating because I'm used to, I guess, 30 students in a class and kind of being familiar with most people, if not knowing them really well. So it was kind of an uncomfortable situation, kind of nervous at the beginning. But I think for myself, it's important that everyone's in the same position, especially in first year, that you're all going through the same thing. You're all nervous. You're all excited. So it's about kind of being comfortable, being uncomfortable. So the biggest thing was probably that's not the 9 to 3:30 as much as I really appreciated that. So it's just about finding balance and trying to find your way.
Thank you, Jacob. Jasper, Mr. Chen?
I think I'm going to agree with Jacob. I think the biggest surprise I had was probably the freedom that I had in university. So it's a big change, not having school days, having to be at school at 9 o'clock. You could have courses that start at 8:30 at Western, and they could end at 10 p.m. So it's really up to you as a student to time manage because time management is very, very important. Like everyone will tell you that time management is extremely important. You have to set up time to do your homework. You have to set up time to do your labs. You have to set up time to do your online assignments. Everything's up to you. You can do them at night. You can do them early in the morning. No one cares, as long as they're done. That's probably the biggest surprise.
Thanks, Jasper. Gracie?
I mean, I think same thing, like the biggest surprise, I guess, or not even surprise, but like in comparison to high school was just how much independence you have and your time is your own. So you have to manage everything accordingly, like academics and social life. I was also surprised at how well prepared I was for university. I think Forest Hill actually does an exceptional job at preparing you just for the change. I didn't find that there was a big kind of gap in like my marks, or I didn't feel like I was falling behind like I know a lot of kids felt. So that was a pleasant surprise, is what I would say.
Great. Thank you. Marley?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same about what everyone's kind of been touching upon. For me, I don't know what it was like at Forest Hill because I come from a different high school. I went to Chat, for those of you who know it, and for me, we had about 8 periods a day of classes, and I had like 13 courses all at once. So when I came, originally what happened with me was I was actually in university in my first year. And then I switched to college in my 3rd year, and I took the 2nd year off. So I think it was more of not of like you're saying, like for me it was 8:30 to 4:30, but for you guys it was like 9 to 3. And things change throughout university that like you don't realize. And for me it was switching the programs and everything. So it's not like always going to be the same day to day, and sometimes there can be things going on, especially now with everything going on. Like it's very unpredictable at times, but you just kind of learn how to cope with it and do your best to try and succeed.
Thank you, Marley. Sapna?
I think same as everyone said, I was definitely surprised at the amount of freedom that we had in terms of when our classes were, even what classes we got to take. You definitely had to have a lot of self-regulation, I feel. You had to first balance your academics, which are definitely more challenging than high school, but I feel like nothing that you can't handle if you try your best. And you had to balance your social life, as well as if you wanted to join any clubs or extracurriculars, you had to fit that all within your schedule. And of course, it wasn't in a 9 to 3 day like everyone's saying. It was throughout the whole day. Even sometimes on weekends, you had to come in for some extracurricular or the other. So I definitely feel like there was a lot of balancing to do, but it wasn't impossible, and it was a really nice experience to kind of get to try all this new stuff.
Great. Thanks, Sapna. Sarah?
I feel like what really surprised me the most was honestly the grading system. You think it's going to be the same as long as you work hard and you're going to get a good grade, but it really depends on the professor. I took 2 art history classes at the same time, and in one of them I'm getting a solid 70, and in the other I'm getting a solid 90. So I know one professor, the painting professor, I'm not that good at painting, but a lot of my friends are, and I know for a fact that they're like more skilled in the practice than I am, and I'd see them come in and do the critique with amazing painting, and I'd come in with something like very rudimentary, and we'd all get 75s or 80s because our professor was just like, okay, you passed. And I had another professor who straight up told me, I will never give you higher than an 80. If you get an 80, that's basically the best grade you could ever have in a first year course. So grades don't really matter as long as you pass and do the work. That was good enough. So numbers aren't as important as they might have been in high school.
Thank you, Sarah. Oswald.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to talk about something that surprised me a lot, and this is more for maybe upper year advice. The courses get really hard, and the good thing is that the professors really understand this, and they're there to help you. If you know you're really struggling something, they'll almost always make some time to basically give you a short tutor session in their office, or if there's an assignment that you've put a lot of work in and you just can't figure it out, they're willing to give you extra time if it makes sense, or maybe a lot of the time you can just drop an assignment that you did really bad on. So basically, professors are really nice, especially upper year ones. So hopefully that's what you guys experience too.
Thank you, Oswald. Danny.
For the surprising thing, I have two things. So one is kind of like how what everyone said is so true. Like people being like, you have to take classes you actually like or else you're not going to have a good experience. The professors don't care about you. Everything you hear in high school about university is actually true, even if it doesn't sound like it's going to be true. It's all true. And I was also surprised at how fun it actually is, because I always knew it was going to be a fun experience. Like I always knew like, oh, you're going to go to so many parties with your friends and you're going to have so much fun. But like, it's a lot more fun than you think it is. So it was also surprising, like, oh, this is actually so fun. So like, yes, it's stressful because it's school and it's hard, but it's not as hard as it seems. Like kind of what everyone said, it does, you are prepared for it. It's like what Josh said and Gracie said, you are prepared for it. It's not insanely hard or anything. And it's a lot more fun if you go into it with a positive mindset and try to make friends and all of that, and you just end up having a lot of fun.
Thank you, Danny. Cassie?
The biggest difference I found from high school to university was that there's no one pushing you to go to class. Like your lectures, there's no one telling you to go, or you don't have to be there at a certain time. So I found it was a challenge to make myself go, because I was like, oh, I could just learn this on my own at home. But it's such a big difference when you go into class and you can really learn things. And then the other thing I realized quickly was that there's so many more people who you can meet, and there's so many, like your classes are so much bigger, and there's so many friends for you to meet. And I made so many great new friends this year because there's just a wide variety of people. And then also there's so many resources that can help you all the time. Like I was having trouble choosing my courses in the middle, like from first semester, second semester, and there's someone so easily accessible to help you and to talk to, and there are people all around, which is really cool, and a big campus community, which I really liked.
Thank you, Cassie. Kira?
Yeah, so playing off of Cassie's point, a lot of people don't realize that everyone in first year is in the same boat. You're all feeling either nervous or excited or overwhelmed or anxious, but I guarantee you that the person either to the right of you or the left of you or behind you or in front of you in lectures are feeling the exact same way. So don't ever feel like you're alone, because I guarantee you someone is feeling the exact same way. And if you reach out to people and you meet new people, because you're in programs that have similar interests, you are going to find people that have those similar interests, that feel the same way, and you're going to be able to move and sail along that boat with other people. So I think that's just really important to know. Also, one thing that surprised me was the distance between classes. So if you have back-to-back classes, it's not like you're going from Mr. Bashir's class in the basement up to Mr. Berger's class, like up 2 flights of stairs. You might have to run across campus, which is like usually like a 20-minute walk, but you're gonna have to sprint there in like 9 minutes. So that surprised me.
Thank you, Kira. Theodore?
Yes, so I want to touch upon time management. So what has already been said is very true about time management. You do get a lot of freedom. You get to choose your own schedule, and you can have mornings off or have classes at night or vice versa. Now, what I want to say is do not confuse freedom with free time, because there is a lot of prioritization. You got to prioritize between your school life and your other commitments. Now, if you live on campus, that becomes more complicated because you have to manage, feeding yourself, making food. Now, if you work, it becomes even more like harder because you're gonna have time, that you won't be able to do your homework. So there is a lot of prioritization involved. Something else that I want to say is, as Cassie mentioned, is responsibilities. In high school, teachers kind of look after you. They remind you of homeworks and basically your schoolwork, whereas in post-secondary, you kind of have to keep track yourself.
Thank you, Theo. Kena.
So I like to answer what surprised me the most question, and I would say, like everybody else said, you get so much more independence, and that can be like academic wise, where there's no teacher telling you what assignments are due, when a test is coming up. So you really have to keep yourself accounted for to make sure that you actually hand it in on time or do assignments on time. But also, I think you have like social independence more, as in there's so much time to explore so many different things. There's so many things going on in campus, like time to explore your passions in clubs and intramural activities and stuff. So you really can just like submerge yourself in so much new experiences, which I found really enlightening.
Thank you. Victoria.
Okay, so I'm just gonna compare them. I mean, everybody's pretty much said it all, but for me, I found that like the lack of structure in college was kind of difficult for me to handle. Like I really didn't do very well in my first year because I kind of took it as a joke because I had so much freedom and it was just different from high school. So I'd advise anyone to make sure that like you go to class because it's a different world. Like you need to go to class in college and university because a lot of the times professors will kind of snake you and not put certain information on the slide so that you have to go to class. I found that. So yeah.
Thank you. Mona.
Just adding on to Kira's point about having classes sometimes from one end of the campus to another, especially if you've been to U of T St. George campus, it's huge. One thing that's really helped me was the campus map. So when you're registering for courses, I definitely recommend, going onto the website and finding out where all the buildings are. Especially in the winter, it's not that fun running across campus. So when comparing, I think a big one, as everyone was saying, was the increase in freedom and how you had to make your own schedule. And you find your new structure yourself, which is really great. I know it's difficult at first, but really finding that routine and schedule is really big. And when you compare it to high school, I feel like you're becoming more like yourself because you're in a program that, you're studying certain courses, you're studying those specific courses to pursue a certain career path now, right? And you are reaching for opportunities that you didn't have a chance to at Forest Hill. For instance, there's a lot of networking events at Rotman, right? So like to get those internships, to get those hours. I'm currently studying to get my CPA, right? So just trying to get those internships, trying to get those hours in to be certified. So I feel like you've become more like your own person, really going through this experience compared to high school. High school, you're finding yourself, but university, I find, having that independence and you're really growing up, becoming an adult more. So becoming more like yourself. I found it's a really big difference.
Thank you, Mona.
But it's really easy to accomplish though.
Veronica and then Patrick.
Hi. So I agree with everyone about how the schedule is really flexible. So for now, I'm able to work part-time because I get to do morning classes and work after school. And also for me, I guess the biggest difference between university and high school is that you actually get enough sleep. So people who know me in high school knows that I don't sleep at all. And I find myself having more time to sleep in university because back when I was studying in high school, I sleep around 4 hours per day or maybe less. But now that I'm in university, I find myself being able to sleep at least 8 hours a day, sometimes 12, which is like a bit too much, but it's all right. So it's amazing. Also, I get to focus, I get to study what I love here. And there are a bunch of amazing restaurants around my school with low cost. And I think that's what I love the most about being in uni, the food. So, yeah.
Thank you. Patrick.
So I'll take a stab at what surprised me the most coming into university. I was kind of surprised at how close I got with people in my program. Like coming out of high school, I may have not necessarily kept in touch with everyone from Forest Hill. And then coming into university, I thought that I'd be just this one person in this massive like downtown campus down at Ryerson. But coming into the School of Urban and Regional Planning, it is a very small program and we do a lot of group work. And that teamwork is the key to success, and that we have a bunch of like similar interests. And yeah, the fact that we've just like bonded like family is the thing that surprised me the most. That, and there's this like really cliche saying that hard work pays off, but in university it actually does pay off a lot. Like if you work really hard on like a paper or some project, professors do recognize that, and sometimes they may or may not offer you like networking like opportunities or like, even a job. And yeah.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, so before Q&A, I have another question for the panelists. A lot of you have already shared some ideas or tips that you have for students who are graduating this year, going into post-secondary. I'm gonna so the next question is to share a tip or something that you wanna help students keep in mind to have a successful transition. So the difference between this question and perhaps what you've answered is that think of it more in practical ways. So I've heard a lot about time management, providing structure, free time is not the same as freedom, right? Like, so that's, I think we're all going to use that a lot now because, thank you, Theodore. We love that. But think of practical things. So what are practical things that you think graduates going into university or college can do to make sure that they can overcome, these challenges or growth opportunities, however you want you see them, but think practically, what can they do, okay, to make sure that they have a successful transition? You may even talk about like, what can they do in the summer to prepare themselves, right? So yeah, think more in practical ways. Because a lot of you did share tips, I was gonna go around, but I do think it now makes more sense for you to put up your hand if you want to answer, and I'll call your name. So Danny.
Okay, so I think for me, going into first year, I didn't know anything. I didn't know where to pick my courses. I didn't know what classes I was allowed to take. And I really did not know anything at all. So what I did is I used social media like as much as I could. I joined every single Facebook group over the summer, every single Facebook group that was like Ryerson class of 2023 or like my program and stuff like that. And in those groups, you can search up posts or like, and there's always people doing this. And it's like comment on this if you want to make a group chat for this class. If you're in this program, comment on this, we'll make a group chat, whatever. So I joined all of them. And like some of them were annoying and then I left, but I tried to be in as many as possible because then I knew that first week of university, like Frosh week, whatever, like I'm meeting everyone, but I'm meeting the right people. So I'm meeting the people I know I'm going to have class with. I'm meeting the people I know I'm going to be seeing every day. And right away, I try to make friends with those people. And that helped a lot because you're going to class with them. So you motivate each other to be in class, because in a group of 10 people, obviously there's at least one that's going to want to go to class. So then it does help, and you can help each other with classes and studying and all of that. And when it came to being organized, I am the least organized person I know. I'm saying, you know this. And I never use an agenda. I never used a locker in school. I literally gave away my locker first day of school every single year. I'd never used it. And what I found that helped me a lot was having a planner, like literally like a small little planner I got from Dollarama, and I could plan. It had like every weekday on like a page, and it just made it so much easier, like writing down the, what's it called? Like my deadlines and stuff like that, because your professor will give you a syllabus on the first day of class. So right away, I just noted all of that down for the whole entire semester, because now it's already there. I already know it's coming, even if it's in a month, so I can prepare myself. And the last thing, sorry, I'm talking a lot. The last thing was, when a professor is giving you a lecture, at least at my school, they post the slides for it 2 days before or like a day before. So you do have access to the class before you actually go to the class. So right away when they would post it, what I would do is note it all down. I would start taking notes at home right away when I got the material, because then I know I can pay less attention in class, because obviously I'm going to get distracted in class sitting there for 3 hours. I want to be on my phone. I don't want to be listening to professor. So having the notes before helps, because you can just follow along the notes you already have. And if there's like a section that you really don't understand, you would bold it, and when the professor is talking about it, now you already know what to expect. So that made it a lot easier too.
Thank you, Danny. Kena?
So I would like to just say 2 tips I learned, or what I figured out going into university. And one of them was just making friends in general. And so that was like one of the biggest like worries I had going into post-secondary, was whether I was going to make new friends, and I thought I was going to end up alone, and all those like little tiny worries, like you know, was like really scary. But what I found, like what Cassie and Kira said, was like you'll meet so many amazing people in so many different ways. And then I think to do that, first of all, just be yourself, which is easy to do, and also make sure to get involved in so many different ways, because you meet different people in like the craziest ways, like maybe during orientation, or maybe going to the same class as you at different clubs. So make sure you like submerge yourself in that, so that you have so many different opportunities. And my second tip is just like know how to take notes in general when you're in lectures, because one thing I figured out, well, I didn't figure out when I went to lectures, was how to take notes, and I was just really confused as to what I was supposed to do, because there's different people, you know, on the computer doing it, or like on their iPads and stuff. And just know your style, figure out how you learn, because that's really important going into university, because everybody's different, and that'll really help you succeed.
Thank you. So I see a number of hands. So I'm going to go with maybe Marley and then Josh first. And then we'll come, yeah. Marley and then Josh first. Yep. Marley.
Okay, so I do have 2 things to kind of touch upon, but the first one, I agree, to get involved is very important. For me, going into first year, majority of my friends went away to university, so I was kind of alone here with a few friends, and going to commuter school, which makes it a little harder to make friends, you know, because all your friends that are away at university, they have their roommates, they are seeing each other every day, you know, so they kind of are not forced to be friends, but they're kind of closer together. And then you're commuting every day, so you may not have the same thing that they're going through. So what I found really helpful was to get involved. I ended up actually, and Dan too, but ended up joining a sorority in my first year of university, and 4 years later ended up becoming the president of it. And I have met pretty much all my friends are in it right now, and have helped me through so many things with being here, and like you help each other out with studying anything that you need, so you have like a group of people that you can go to. Not necessarily joining a sorority is what I'm gonna say, like any club at school, anything that you find interesting. It's a really good support system to have, definitely. So try and get involved as much as you can. And the second thing I was going to say is don't be afraid to seek out help when you need it. You'd be surprised, but college university has so many outlets that you can go to find help. You know, for me, small school, my grade had 120 people in it. So it was very tiny, and right away and everything to get help, and you know where to get. And when you go to university and there's maybe 500 people in your class, it can be a little overwhelming for you to be able to. You'd be surprised, but there's so many programs that you can go to. I know for a fact that like at George Brown, I didn't stay at York University very long. That's where I was for first year. But at George Brown, they have peer editing programs where you can, if you're not sure about it, get to the peer editor and help you. And they do have counselors pretty much at university. So anytime that you need help or extra time or like anything that you get in high school, definitely try and seek out to find it because it's really helpful and you won't get as overwhelmed if you seek out help.
Thank you. Josh?
Yeah, so my probably two biggest tips. Number one, don't be shy. I know it's really hard. I'm someone that struggles with this a lot, but like there is no sense in going through university alone, especially like your classes are definitely going to be more difficult than anything that you faced so far. And like going through it alone is just definitely not the way to go. Like having like just people to like discuss things with and work with for like assignments and stuff like that is really important. Especially since everything's online, like Danny said, make sure that you're joining all of the group chats that you can find, leave the annoying ones, stay in the good ones. And then also don't be afraid to message the group chat. Like you don't like always have to just be like a lurker in there, like post something out, like it'll probably pay off more often than not. And then my number two tip, which is also extremely important, is do not compare yourself to others. And it's something that I also struggle with a lot. You're going to be in a room full of a lot of really smart people, like a lot, and some people that are like, you didn't even know people that smart existed. And it's like, it's scary and almost a little bit annoying, but like, I mean, it's also really cool. It's just like, if you spend you're always going to find someone who is like better than you at something. And like, if you spend all of your time just thinking like, oh, this person just got a job at Google and I don't, and now I feel bad about myself. Or this person is getting 90s in everything and parties every weekend and has an amazing social life. Like, it is just a deep rabbit hole that you just really don't want to find yourself in. So some of the ways that you can kind of avoid comparing yourself to others is just really like with focusing on yourself and figuring out like, what do you want? Like at the end of the day, like it's kind of hard to do to figure out what you want, but like, I don't know, my go-to is always just make a huge list and then rank it all. And then you can kind of figure out like, what are your priorities? What are you trying to do? And then another thing is that like, it gets really hard to not compare yourself to others also when you're being very social, because, you know, like you're talking to all these people and then they're like talking about all the stuff you're doing and then you start feeling bad about yourself. So it's just really important to just like kind of not lose sight of who you are and what you want, and like don't base your identity off of who you are in relation to others.
Thank you, Josh. So maybe two more, and then I'm gonna get, because I'm also, from listening to your responses, I'm also thinking maybe some of the, like what you're gonna say may also be part of the answers of questions that some of our students may ask. So I'm gonna maybe get Gracie and Dio to share right now, and then everybody else, if you don't get to say in one of the answers, then we will come back to what you want to say. Okay, so Gracie and then Dio.
So I think that my biggest piece of advice is to give yourself time. Like within the first month of university, so many students felt this immense amount of pressure to like make a bunch of new friends and to join every club. And really, you don't have to rush. Like you have 4 years. Every year you're going to meet new people. I found that the more I forced it, the more like those connections weren't that authentic. So I found that I just made the most friends when I was relaxed and just, you know, in class or around campus. And also there are other ways to get involved in your school than like joining a bunch of clubs. That can be really overwhelming. I know for me, I was at the library most of the time when I wasn't in class. So I felt like I didn't have a lot of time, but what I did and what a lot of my friends did were like, we went to a bunch of sporting events and that was so fun for us. And it was a time where we can all get together and just support our school and have a lot of fun. So even if it's doing something as small as that, just like make sure that you are having fun. It's not all about your academic life. There is a healthy balance. Yeah, and just give yourself like a grace period. You don't have to make a million friends within your first 4 days at university. So yeah, just yeah, I would say that.
Theodore?
Yeah. Yeah. So the piece of advice that I have for all of you is that before you apply to a post-secondary, is that you know what you want. And after you know what you really want to do, like in terms of your future career, is that you make sure that the program that you want to take, not only you'll enjoy it, but you better make sure that that will make you qualified for the job that you want to have. Because it is very important that you remember that most of the jobs out there are extremely competitive, and you're not the only one applying for those jobs. So as it has previously been said, it's not about just academics. It is important, but make sure that you enjoy that program as well.
Great, thank you. Okay, so I am going to open the floor to question and answer. I think we probably can manage having our Forrestal students actually come on the mic and ask the question yourself. So if you have a question, just basically type "I have a question" in the chat box, and Mr. Osterhoff or Ms. Robles Evans will then call your name, and then you can ask the question. Unmute yourself and ask the question. Nobody has a question? Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to go to the next person to share. So, but know that from now on, like you can, whenever you have a question, just type in the chat box that you have a question. And then we can then go to the question first before we go. Like we'll do this like sort of interchangeably. So I'm going to get Jasper to share. But in the meantime, if you think of a question, just type "I have a question" in the chat box. Okay,
I think
Jasper.
also Veronica might want to as well, but since
Sure.
the camera's not on.
Right, okay. Jasper?
So I think with what's going on around us, it's pretty important to mention that, because I think the biggest concern, or a major concern most high school graduates have, is that how is university going to be different with COVID-19 and with all the universities moving to virtual classes, online classes. I know U of T is doing, I think the first term, they're doing all online classes. Western's doing 25 to 30% online. UBC, McGill, they're all doing fully online. So you might not even have to move to the university city. You don't have to move to Ottawa. You don't have to move to London anymore. And everything's done online. So that can be scary, the uncertainty. And what our experiences are, what we're saying, you might not find it as applicable because everything is done online. So I think one tip that I have is that you have to make the extra effort to be involved, whether that be in student government, in organizations on campus, or in clubs. The clubs will still be running, even though they're virtually. You might not meet them in person, but you can still get involved. And it's important to remember that this is not forever. This is not a permanent change. This will blow over, and things will return to somewhat of a normal state, and you will get to meet these other classmates, or maybe in half a year. Eventually, you'll get to meet them in person, and then you guys can talk about this experience together. It's also important to remember that every single student going to first year is dealing with the same thing. They also don't know what's going on, what might happen. So it's important to keep that in mind.
Thanks, Jasper. Veronica?
Oh, so for me, if you guys have in-person class in the future, remember to eat, because this is really important. I realized it was like problematic to not eat when I just feel nauseous in class, and finding out that I lost 10 pounds, and I'm just like, oh, maybe I should start eating, because I only eat like a meal per day because I was always so busy with work and school. So put some snacks in your bag and bring water bottle to school. This is like super, super important because it helps you not only physically but also mentally. And it is really distracting if you go to class hungry. So remember to like put some snacks in your bag. And I agree with Marley as well. So check what benefits your school offer. For my school, we have doctors, therapists on campus, and it is really helpful if you need to talk to someone or have some thing like I don't know, like maybe have some issue. So also like figuring a way to de-stress is really important because sometimes people get really stressed out that it affects their daily lives and they can't function properly, especially in first year because I experienced that as well. So maybe try to find a way to de-stress during the summer. Maybe read some books, take some pictures, or like write some poems. I think it will help a lot.
Thanks, Veronica. Okay, before we go to Patrick and Sapna, again, invitation to the grade 12s, current grade 12s, to type that you have a question, if you have a question, in the chat box. Okay, Patrick?
Okay, so I have 2 tips. Given if any of you are going to a post-secondary school in Toronto, as a future transit planner, I implore you, give yourself extra time commuting to school, because I guarantee you, you will get stuck on the TTC, as much as I hate to say that. Second tip that I have for everyone is that when you're in university, not everything is a competition. Like, I totally get, yeah, at the end of the day, you're competing against each other for the same jobs or positions or what have you. But it's kind of like a building process to get to that position, and you're gonna need help. So as what my other fellow alumni have said, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to help each other out, even though you or someone else may get a higher mark than you. At the end of the day, you are all going to get the same degree. And yeah.
Thank you. Let's go to Emma's question first. Hi, Emma.
Hi. I have a question for people who can.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Really?
Yeah. Very, very soft.
Now?
A little better. Maybe try asking a question. Yeah.
Okay. I had a question for anyone who took calculus in high school. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Maybe type it.
Sorry, Emma. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which program are you going into, Emma? Business or science? Or engineering? Business at Laurier.
Business at Laurier.
So is the question about whether calculus is hard, or whether it's a prerequisite, or
how do you if you felt prepared when you
felt prepared. Calculus. So for panelists, definitely answer that question. But I also feel like, as you know, for programs that need calculus, calculus at Forest has always offered second semester. So basically, students only got 1 month of instructions in a calculus class, and then the rest has been online learning calculus, right? So which obviously is very different. So this is definitely it's a source of anxiety, I know, for a lot of grade 12 students going into a program that requires not calculus for sure, but maybe even heavy math and sciences. I mean, other sciences. They are worried that they won't be as prepared going into first year without with a whole more than half of this semester not being in class. So who wants to take a stab at that question? Mona.
I actually love this question because I know it might be different for Laurier, but at University of Toronto, there's actually, what is it called? There's a summer program. So for a couple of days, the math department actually set up some calculus preparation classes. Cool. So everyone was able to come, and then they were able, the professors that we'd actually have the following year actually just set up a whole lecture for us about, you know, what we're going to learn or what we're expected to already know. And they start from the very basics. So it's nothing to worry about. Everyone's already at that basic level, and they just keep going up when it comes to difficulty. And then also in terms of business in general, from my program, there's a calculus that was specifically geared towards business and commerce. So certain formulas, or, you know, the firm problem about revenue and expenses and how to calculate that, mortgages, they were able to teach us the basics, and then we keep going up from there. And there's some people that did have an advantage because they were able to go a bit further. Like I remember integrals we didn't learn in calculus, and some people understood it immediately, but half of us didn't. But at the same time, they're teaching us from the very start. Also, there are some economics classes that do require some calculus. I know I'm taking an economics course during the summer right now, and my professor sent us a calculus preparation sheet. So it goes over the rules and the basics again, because we haven't taken calculus since first year. So even that break alone. So there's always going to be help available, and professors are always available as well. So if you feel like you're behind, or you feel like there's a topic you're struggling with, just go to office hours. And no question is a bad question. Professors are there to help you. So are TAs. And also look into the services available, because I remember it's still happening. There was a math help center at U of T. So there was some drop-in hours run by TAs from multiple math courses. And you could just go ask any questions you like. And they're open most of the day, every day of the week. So you're in good hands when it comes to it. There's no need to worry about that. They always try to help, and you're going to learn from the very start, the basics, and just gets more advanced from there. So don't worry about that too much.
Thank you, Mona. Jacob also wanted to answer the question. Yeah.
So I think if it provides you any comfort, I mean, there are kids across Canada, especially Ontario, that are in the same position as you, who are taking courses online. But I think, I'm just speaking from experience, when I was in first year, they like to regulate what you know, because people come from all over the world, different provinces, different countries, and the level is different for everyone. So for some cases, some people may know more than me. They may have done integrals in high school. I didn't, but they catch you up. So they like to regulate everyone. So if that has any comfort. And also too, I'm sure at Laurier there are a ton of tutoring services. I'm at Queen's, they have a whole separate thing set out for tutoring. And if I'm being honest, for some courses I've had to take tutoring, and I just finished my second year. So it's okay to reach out for help, especially when the courses where you get driven mad by staying up way too late and drinking too much coffee. So it's okay to reach out for help. I'm sure there are resources. And really quickly, a pro tip, just so I don't take any more time, is I think it follows in the same vein as Josh, is that not to be too hard on yourself. Even people touched on it, there are a lot of pressures that you feel. You're uncomfortable, you're worried, you're nervous. But either if in the fall, if it's online virtually like this, or if it's in person, just know that everyone on the screen or eventually in person is in the same position as you. So if that provides you any comfort, then you're already one step ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacob. And thank you, Emma. That's a really good question. Thanks, Emma. Okay, anyone else has a question for the grade 12s? You can type in the chat box that you have a question. And any more panelists that want to share practical tips? Okay, Sarah, let's start. Oh, sorry, I forgot about Sapna. Sapna, and then Sarah, and then Victoria. Yeah.
Just for commuter students who are going to university in Toronto, this year I commuted to all my classes from home. So it can get a little tough balancing going to class and coming back, and your academics and your social life and your extracurriculars. But I found that there's lots of things you can actually do on your commute. You can download your readings maybe and read while you're on the TTC, or you can just relax, listen to some music, just get in some well-needed rest time. And also just maybe try to balance when you're going home or when you're leaving to class, because I mean, I found it's not the best to go home on the TTC at midnight. So yeah, just try to balance that commuting with your academics, and it can feel a little bit disconnected at times from the rest of campus, but it's really easy to get involved and make friends and still feel a part of the university.
Thank you, Sapna. Sarah?
I feel like I want to play off what Danny said earlier in that you definitely need to start writing stuff down. Because in high school, I kind of just remembered everything I had to do. I knew certain things had to be done by certain days. I didn't write anything down. I just kind of got things done on time. But then I had a bunch of classes, and all of those classes had many, many things that had to be done. And I soon realized that I focus all my energy on one thing, and then I totally forget about all the others. So you definitely need to start keeping a to-do list or a calendar or both. Doesn't matter if it's digital or in a little planner. I do it on my iPad, because not only will you start forgetting stuff you have to do for university, the stuff you're doing for university is going to make you start forgetting your parents' birthdays and that you promised your friend you'd meet her at the Eaton Center, and oh God, it's been an hour and you're still not there. So you need to start writing things down. If there needs to be something done, whether it's a reading or a project or an important day, you need to remember it needs to go down, because you are going to forget. You will start to get the memory of an old person. It's horrible. The other thing I would highly recommend is that never buy the textbooks. They're expensive, and university is mooching your money off anyways. So I highly recommend either buying it used if you have to buy it, finding it online, because believe me, university students are awesome. They probably uploaded every single edition to the internet already. And again, if you have to buy it, definitely maybe split with a friend, or like share a textbook, or try to get it from a student in an upper year who already went through that textbook, because it's usually not worth $200 if you're only going to look at a few pages throughout the entire semester. I promise. Definitely never pay the full price for a textbook.
Thank you. So I have Victoria and then Danny, but I also see, I think, a question, right? So is it from David?
Yes.
David, do you want to unmute yourself and ask the question, or do you want? Okay, so maybe, okay, so I'll just read it. So David said, I'm just curious, what should we do during summer? So do you all recommend taking courses in the summer to get more credits, or find a job to get some work experience, or apply for a research assistant to hook up with profs? So I don't think he means this summer. I think he means like when you're in post-secondary, what do you do with your summers, basically? Am I right, David?
And probably by hook up with your profs, he means talk to.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, Danny?
Okay, so just like back to the last question, just one last thing. It's like a big difference that in high school, we have the classes every single day, especially in a semester school. You're having these classes every single day, seeing the same teachers every day, so it's easier to remember stuff. In university, at least me, I had classes only once a week, so it's 3 hours once a week. Sometimes it'll be twice a week, but that's the most you're going to be there, so that's why it gets very hard to remember things and stuff like that. But back like to David's question, so your summer in high school is only 2 months, and in university it's 4 months, depending when your exams end. Mine this year is 5 months because my exams ended mid-April. So it just really depends. Like you have a lot of time, meaning you can do one course for the spring, like during the spring, and then you can work over the summer. You can always find something to do because it's a very long time period. It's kind of like a whole semester. So you kind of have a whole semester off. So I'd see it more as like trimesters, like 3 trimesters, and it's 2 in school, 1 off school, but that time you're off of school counts just as much as when you are in school. So for example, like, I mean, I only had this my first summer in university, but I'm I don't qualify for summer courses because I'm switching programs, so I'm technically in first year. But I'm doing a class, as in like I'm just watching it and not doing it for a credit, just because it's something I'm interested in. But having the time off, like you can work in your own projects, stuff that has nothing to do with school at all. You can like have your own time. For example, like I have my podcast, so that's what I'm working on, and it has nothing to do with school. And then at the same time, you can work. Like if we weren't obviously quarantined right now, I would be at my job working, making money, saving up for this school year. So you do have a lot of time. It's like basically just as long as you have as for a semester. So it's a lot of time, and you have more time than you think. Therefore, you can do several things.
Thanks, Danny. You know what? I am going to, if you don't mind, ask maybe some of the more upper year students to answer this question who perhaps have gone through a few summers to share what you did and what you found maybe more interesting, or how Mona?
Sorry, my laptop's being a bit slow. I would say it depends on the program that you're in and what your career path is. Because for me personally, in my program, it also depends on your strengths, because personally, finance is not my biggest strength. And there was a finance course that was mandatory for all Rotman students to take, no matter what specialist you're in. And it had a really bad reputation. So I took it last summer, and I took the course I had to take right after it also. And I got excellent results because I actually had time to dedicate to studying it and to really understanding it. And what's great about summer courses is that even though it's condensing a whole semester into 1 to 2 months, you still have time to do other stuff. Many of my friends have also done their jobs, have done internships while studying and taking summer courses. There's a bit of time management skills being tested in that case, but it's still doable, right? And especially a lot of jobs do understand that you are studying. So depending on your employer, they would also maybe give you time off at certain times. And when it comes to your career also, because just from my experience, because I'm planning on pursuing my CPA, we do have to get 30 months worth of hours. So there's a lot of us that do try to get the internships, try to clock in those hours while we can. But personally for me, I'm planning on doing that after I graduate at this point, obviously, right? Everyone has a different plan. Everyone has different preferences. But I would definitely recommend if there's a course that, because the course that I took had maybe an average, very low average, I think like 50s, 60s at one point. It was not like, but they did adjust it, but everyone did amazing at the end. But it did struggle. It was a big of a struggle when you had like 4 other courses to study for. So basically having that time to really, study, but put your head in the books, and you'll do really well in them. Yeah, and even right now, I'm taking some economics courses, trying to get those done. And I actually like how I actually have a lot of time just dedicated towards that. And you still have help from other people and your friends also, which kind of goes hand in hand with tips being said before. You are in a program, you might compete for same positions, but everyone's friends at the end, right? You just message them, ask them for help, clarification about any topic, anyone's there for you.
Thanks, Mona. Marley? Marty, I'm not sure, did you?
I was just gonna say that.
She's there.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I raised my hand.
That's okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say that I think that, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Working? Okay, sorry.
It's all good.
That it's a lot of personal preference. For me, I personally have never taken a summer in this, because for me, a lot of courses all can be very overwhelming, and I find in the summertime I like to have my break and kind of just be outside, because you're usually inside during the school year, it's cold and everything like that. But at the same time, it really depends on your program, how fast you want to finish university or college, or what your what your like your timeline is. For me, I don't care to really finish school that fast. You know, I'm taking a 5th year next year, which is okay. You know, don't be scared. Don't think that you have to finish school all in 4 years. You know, go at your own pace. And if you want to take courses in the summer, definitely take courses in the summer. It can help you, you know, if you know you have a semester coming up where you have a lot of mandatory courses and you want to get some of your general education courses out of the way so you have less of a workload in the next semester, definitely do that. A lot of my friends take courses in the summer and still are able to go out, you know, still be able to time manage that. So like I said, it's personal preference. If you like to have your summers off and have a break, definitely do that. But if you would also like to get ahead and take courses, you can do that as well, your summer in place. So yeah.
Nice. I think your microphone's off, Miss Ing. Yes.
You are right. Sorry, I was gonna. Oswald, you're answering this question, right? Oswald, with your hand up, were you answering this question? Yeah. Okay.
So I was gonna say that the most important thing you should think about, not just for summers, but for pretty much anything at school, is what's gonna give you an important skill that you can use later, or what's gonna let you meet people that will teach you a lot. Because, for example, some of the coolest people on your campus are actually going to be the professors. Maybe you would want to, for the summer, do a research position with someone or with a professor whose class you really liked. But it doesn't have to be like that. Like, for example, if you find a really cool, like for me, for example, this summer I'm doing a project with artificial intelligence. So for example, even though that's not directly related to my program, it's pretty neat. It's cool to learn about, and it's teaching me a lot of computational skills, which I'm not taking a lot of classes for, so I'm learning it in a different way. And it's a skill that will always be useful. So that's the kind of thing that you should look for, even during the year.
Great. Thank you. So I'm going back to Barbara's question. A lot of schools are doing classes online. How is the academic side of schooling different compared to online versus in class? Are profs equally helpful? How is the workload different? Kana?
So I know with like the situation going on, it might feel uneasy at times and stuff, but I would assure you the profs in the university will work hard to make any accommodations possible. And a lot of online classes, so I'm taking an online class right now. It's really still really like inactive, as in like you can talk to people and communicate. I think someone said it in the group chat, but you know, you can always what's it called, talk to people and just yeah. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But it's like
the profs have been good.
Yeah, it's like it's still gonna be okay, is what I'm trying to say.
Josh?
Okay, so I'm currently in an online semester. So because my program has co-op built into it, like we have school in the summer right now. And what I can say is that the most important thing is that you're staying connected with your peers, because like it can be really like tough when you're when you're like alone in your room studying for like hours and hours a day and constantly doing work. And again, it's really important that you don't go through it alone. But the other thing is that it's extra important that you don't go through it alone, because some profs are great and they'll put in like just as much, if not more, effort into making sure that all of the resources that you need are there for you. But some definitely will not. And I have personal experience with that right now, with the profs who just literally just post their lecture notes and you can't even read their handwriting. And then they just like, that's it. That's all they do. And no Q&A sessions, no places to ask them questions other than through email. And they take like 3 days to respond with a non-answer. So again, like you can't control who your professors are really for the most part. Or at least I know I can't because it's like one class for everything. But what you can control is like just like how you respond to it and just making sure that you're staying like connected with your peers and yeah, not just like going through the whole thing alone.
Kira and then Mona.
I also wanted to just say, just because classes are online doesn't mean that support systems and tutoring services and everything else don't exist or just on pause as well. I'm part of the McMaster Science Society, and a part of that is having tutoring services. And I know that these tutoring services usually are in person, but they are still going to exist for the fall semester just online. So if you take the initiative to look for these services or to ask people in your program or even your professors what supports are still available, they might help try to ease the transition even more.
And in addition to what all you guys were saying, a really great source is your friends. And I understand in summer courses, it's harder, obviously online, to meet new friends. Because I know for me personally, I didn't know anyone going into this class. But I would really recommend in this case going onto Facebook and trying to find a group chat for it. Because I know for the main U of T, I forgot what it was called, but there's a main U of T bird course, I believe, page and group. Basically, everyone's already making course group chats and course groups, and we're all connecting that way, and we have a group chat to help each other out. Just yesterday, I used it. Even we had a quiz, and there was a topic that I just couldn't understand. So preparing to do that quiz, I'm just like, I don't understand how to do this graph. Does someone have 5 minutes to explain it to me? You know, and you do meet friends that way as well, because through that you could find even you have mutual friends, and you could connect that way. And it really is a great help in this case. Technology, it's really useful in this case as well. So while you could talk with professors, there's also a way to access your fellow classmates that you could have talked to in class. Because even in person, I remember last year there was homework, and there's some questions none of us really knew how to do, but there's some people that did. So before class, we just all get together, discuss it, and help each other out.
Great, thank you. Just because I don't know if I don't think the chat will be like in the recording, so I do want to mention that Victoria, who attends a college, is basically saying that she's also having good experience with her college prof. So in case any student watch this video later, that from the college perspective is that the professors are also pretty helpful during the online teaching. Theo, you want to speak to that as well?
Yes, so speaking from my own experience, my teachers have been very helpful. So going back to what Josh said, your experience learning online will depend on how teachers conduct it. For example, my teachers have been very supportive, and you know, in terms of workload, you still follow the same curriculum. So it's not like it changes drastically. You still do the same work that you would do in class, but from distance. That's like the only difference that I found. And on the bright side, your teachers are, well, from my own experience, my teachers were a lot easier to reach, like through emails, because they check their emails more often right now. So they're a lot easier to reach in case you have a question or, anything that confuses you.
Thank you. Any more questions from grade 12 students right now? No? Okay, so I was hoping to finish at 3. So for the last 6 minutes, I do want to ask one last question to the panelists, because I think this would be a good way to end on a positive note. So in 1 minute or less, can you highlight what you found as your personal growth since your high school? So how have you grown since high school by attending post-secondary? whether it be 1 year ago, the 1 year difference, or 4 years difference for Jasper. Yeah, so basically talk about your growth. And yes, a minute or less. You know what? Are you okay if I go down the list so everybody gets a chance to wrap up? Great, thank you. I'm gonna start with Cassie again.
So the thing I learned the most, I grew the most was meeting new friends and learning how to do things on my own. And I think I met so many new people who are amazing. And I think during the Corona time, you're not stuck. You can still meet people like we were talking about before in the Facebook groups. And also school-wise, like I've been in so many Facebook groups in school, moving to online helped me meet even more people because I met people in my program instead of just who are in my residence or who are around me. And during Corona, you can talk to more people. And we ended up doing this work online together, which was really cool and a great experience. So that's where I grew the most, with meeting new people.
Great, thank you. Danny?
I would say, like, especially coming from a school like Forest Hill, the community of Forest Hill is very close. Kind of everyone knows each other. Everyone's been friends since they were little. So breaking from that and being around people who are just like completely new, and like, yes, you still have some friends from high school, that kind of helps you. It's kind of like, oh shit, like sorry, I swear. It's like, it's a realization like that the world is like bigger than just the people we know, that there's so many more people. And also like there's so many resources in the school and so many different people doing different things that you learn about a lot of things that you had no idea even existed. So I would say like my growth is kind of just finding, like, it sounds really cliche, but like finding myself, like finding the stuff that I actually enjoy doing. Because like, yes, I enjoyed high school and I loved being in Forest Hill, but knowing that there's more than that, and then there's like more stuff you can like. If that makes sense?
Yeah. Thanks, Danny. Gracie?
I think that probably my growth since graduating has been just about gaining so much independence, and that was the biggest thing going from grade 12 to first year, was that you really are your own parent, I guess. You don't have anyone there to be monitoring you in any way. Like, you think that you have a lot of independence in your last year of high school and that you're just kind of kings of the place, but really you do not know the difference between independence in high school versus university or college. And I think that it's been a really great thing. And I think that a lot of people are really thriving with that much independence, and they're able to make a lot of decisions for themselves and know what's best for them. So I think, yeah, that would be mine.
Thank you, Gracie. Jacob?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. I think 100% the biggest thing is independence. Especially now, I'm really appreciating cooking. Well, me not cooking, because I had to cook on my own this past year, and that was quite interesting. So that's the biggest thing for myself. It's all about, yeah, really independence and being on your own. And yeah, I mean, I think I've grown, I think.
Thank you, Jacob. Jasper?
I think one way that I've grown since high school is I have a better understanding of the world. And by that, I mean, I have a better understanding of what's happening around the world and how that might affect me. And I think everyone will learn that through university experiences, what you learn in class, the contents. And also you'll start following, world news, what's happening. You'll realize that what's happening around the world matters to you. It can affect you. And I think it's really great.
Thank you, Jasper. Josh?
I think my biggest, the thing that university has done for me the most in terms of personal growth is that it shrunk my ego a lot. And it just made me realize that living your life in comparison to others is just pretty, or at least for myself, had always led to misery. So kind of learning that you are your own person and you don't just exist in relation to others. It means that you can kind of define your own path, and that there isn't an objective right way to go about stuff, and that doing all this extra stuff doesn't make you better than anyone. At the end of the day, you have to figure out what you want to do. And yeah, I guess stick to it and then reevaluate when it's inevitably not what you want to do.
I'm gonna have to call you for advice, Josh, but okay. Kana?
So what I would say, like how I've grown is first of all, like what Gracie said, just I become so much more independent. I realized that I've been like babied by my parents a lot when I was in high school. So just doing everything by yourself, whether that's like eating and maybe like cooking, going to class and stuff, it just you really get a sense of like adulting and you're doing it on your own. It's like a new experience. And yeah, that's probably it. But also I just want to add if anybody has like questions about like Queens or like Queen Science in general, like specific programs, like feel free to like shoot me a message outside of this. So yeah.
Thank you. Kira?
How I've grown, I think, is mostly I've learned a lot about myself. And learning about yourself, I think, is never ending. You're always going to learn more about yourself. But going through first year, second year, going through residence, going through living with a house of 6 other girls is going to teach you a lot about yourself, what you like, what you dislike, taking courses that you love and others that you might not love really teach you a lot about yourself and what you like. And I think that's just going to make you grow into the person that you are supposed to be or evolving to be. Another thing I think I've grown to realize is that it's okay not to be okay. You will realize that in high school you kind of just like put it off, maybe you don't really realize it, you may just like brush it under the rug, but in university things will catch up with you, or college, or whatever your journey is, and you need to realize that if you need to take a step back or if you need to get the support you need, it's okay to do that, and it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kira. Marley?
I think for me, I really more confident in myself going from grade 12 all the way to 4th year. First year was a little rough for me. You know, I was still kind of a kid. I was scared to public speak in front of my classmates and everything because it was all so new to me. But throughout these 4 years, I've grown so much. I'm really not afraid of public speaking anymore. I've grown a lot of confidence in my work and who I am as a person. And I also want to say that, you know, it's okay to not always do what your friends want to do, to make your own decisions for yourself. One thing that I was nervous about was, I guess, being alone. You know, you always want to be surrounded by your friends, especially in high school. You're always surrounded by people every day. And in university and college, it's very different that you don't see your friends every day. Everyone has a different schedule. Everyone's doing their own thing. And it's okay to be alone. And it gave me a sense of independence for sure. I would never have in my life probably eaten by myself in a restaurant, but I would do that throughout my classes, you know, like I would have a meal and then I would go to class, and it was something super new for me. But I've come to realize that it's okay and it's normal, and you can be your own person. So that's really what I've learned throughout these 4 years.
Thanks, Marley. Mona?
I'd have to say, actually, first of all, I completely agree with Jasper, which is like actually being able to understand what's going on in the world and actually relating to what's happening. That's really big, and it goes hand in hand with the growth because you feel like you're becoming your own person and you're really being released into the world, right? Because in university, with independence that comes with it, you need to explore everything. And you need to figure out what path you want to take in the future. And that's what's really great about university, is that you're currently studying with the people that want to pursue the same path, basically. So basically figuring out everything together. And that's what I really like about it, trying to figure out who you are, what you want to do, and what your future holds, basically.
Oswald?
Yeah, so basically, I grew up in a few ways. Like, for example, one was I got a lot better at identifying my strengths and not boxing myself in per se. Like, for example, just because you might be in some kind of a science program doesn't mean that after you're done it, you have to get some kind of a research job. You know, like you're picking up a lot of different skills at your time at school. You're not just learning mitosis. You know, that's not what you should keep with you. You should keep you should try to learn how to think critically about subjects and connect different topics together rather than, you know, memorizing stuff. Yeah, and
thanks, Oswald. Patrick?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So ever since leaving high school and going to university, I have grown to see a greater perspective of the world. Like being in planning, I've actually traveled the world, traveled different cities and and I've learned about why different cities do certain things in a certain way. And I've learned to care about the little things and how they can have such a big of an impact. Like, for example, no one really cares to ponder about how wide a bike lane or a car lane may be, but those little concepts have such big impacts on the way we move. And I've grown as an academic. I've become a research assistant at my school's lab, and I've been researching topics that I've never thought I'd be working on. Like coming into university, I thought I'd be like a pure transit planner, but here I am studying about outdoor play and learning and land use planning and the relations between children and how it impacts their lives. So in sum, basically, I've grown to be a more interdisciplinary kind of like student person. And yeah.
Thank you. Sapna?
I think I've grown in terms of finding out more what my interests are, because in high school, I had no clue what I wanted to do. I chose my program almost randomly, but now I've taken a bunch of courses that interest me. I sort of have more of an idea of what I want to do, but I still haven't had that, oh, I know exactly what I want to do with my life moment, because most people haven't. And that's completely okay to not have a set plan for your life, to not know what you're going to do, because it's all about figuring it out as you go along. And university has really helped me with that, helped me to sort of broaden my interests and do a lot of things that I never would have got the chance to do.
Thank you, Sapna.
That's good. Yeah, no, I was the same way, by the way. I still don't know what to do.
We can learn from them for sure. Theodore?
Yes, so other than self-independency and gaining more confidence in myself, I think I have become more open-minded than I was in high school. You know, when you go to post-secondary, I do consider that environment more diverse. You will meet older people with a lot more life experience, people coming from different cultures with different views. And that is why it's very important to build a lot of connections, because that's how you grow as a person. So, you know, I listened to a lot, many more perspectives. I got to know them, and that's how I grew.
Thank you. Veronica?
So I realized I became more independent and considerate because of my job, because sometimes customers can be a bit rude to me, and I learned to not take things too personally, because it's not that good to like care too much. And I realized I relied on people around me too much back in high school. Now I understand how I'm the only one I should rely on and actually listen to myself, which is a good thing, because I didn't really understand myself too well back in high school, which caused a lot of problems. But now that I try to take my time with myself, I think I feel better. And I also became more assertive, straightforward, and confident, because I really needed to push myself to talk to people now. I used to be super shy and hate talking to people because of my accent. And I was just really, really self-conscious, but I think I'm improving. And I think the biggest thing I learned is that being alone is not always a bad thing. Sometimes you just need time alone and recharge yourself. And it's okay to take your time off social media or people in general. So yeah.
Thank you. Sarah, did I miss you? Sorry. Sarah and then Victoria.
I feel like, okay, so first of all, 2 nights ago, I dreamed I was in this very same conference. And I said something very profound that I was surprised still made sense when I woke up. And what I said was this, that going through life is, you know those little yellow flowers that turn into the puffs in springtime? The dandelions?
Dandelion?
Yeah. Life is a lot like being a dandelion. Not only do you grow, you also have to change. And the way I've grown / changed is all my life, I think I've had chronic homesickness. So I don't think I've ever been fully 100% content with where I am physically or with people or on an emotional level myself. When I was in Azerbaijan, I was missing Canada. And when I came to Toronto, I was still missing my old home in Dartmouth. And I was also missing Azerbaijan, even though I didn't want to admit it. And then when I left Forest Hill and I was in OCAD, I was missing Forest Hill. And all my life, it's just been this series of constantly missing people and things. When I was at OCAD still, like in the first semester, I met 2 girls from 4th year who told me that by the end of my 2nd semester, I'd probably be missing OCAD too. Oh, I shudder to think about the fact that they were right because I laughed at them in the moment. But I feel like that was like what clicked with me when I was suddenly at home and I couldn't go to university and I was sad about that. I just suddenly realized, wow, maybe the problem was all along I was never allowing myself to enjoy where I was. And now I feel like I'm still growing, but I think I'm finally reaching that point where I'm content with what's going on and that I need to stop thinking about what was or what I had, because nothing's gone forever, but nothing's worth dwelling on either.
Thanks for sharing. Last but not least again, Victoria.
Okay, so in high school, ever since like grade 9, I've always been really shy, just because I was in the high performance program for figure skating, so I only went to school half a day. And it got better in grade 12, but I feel like since then I've grown a lot in my shyness, and that when you're in college or university, again, you're in a classroom with people who all have like similar interests to you. So I feel like it's much easier to connect that way. So I'm able to make friends quickly and not be shy in my classes, which is a step up for me. So that's good. And I just wanted to mention one tip that we haven't really touched on that much. Registration in the summer, I just wanted to say, make sure, like, I know you have like a week or a couple days and some people are like, oh, whatever, I still have a couple days left. You want to be sitting at your computer before the registration even opens, because you want to have as much control over your schedule as possible. Like for me, I really didn't have a choice this semester because I entered school like the week of school. So I had to register while school was already started. And I got really bad timing, so I have to sit there at school for like 6 hours, and I have to pay for parking every day, so make sure you get on that. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Okay, so we've gone a little bit over time. I am so appreciative of all the panelists for coming out today. I really thank all the grade 12s for also joining us. I really wish I could give you a physical hug, each one of you right now. Of course, I can't. But obviously, I do miss you a lot. So hopefully when the school opens again, you can come visit. Please do come visit. And for any grade 12 students who do want to connect with one of the panelists, like maybe you're going to the same institution, or maybe if you're going into a similar program, if you would like to request to connect with them, you can email me, and then maybe I can see if whoever you want to connect with can connect with you too. I'm sure they're more than willing to. So yeah, so again, thank you everybody take care, stay safe, be content. Like what Sarah's saying, like no one is loving this, I don't think, but we just have to be grateful for what we have. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.